Hi everyone, it's Helen here and thank you for joining me today. Now I have a really bumper project to share with you today and I'm going to show you exactly how to make it. You can hear that there's some goodies inside. Now I've had this idea stuck in my head for probably about a year now and now is the time for me to make it. So what is it? It's a massive box, so let's open up and see what's inside. You probably have a big clue from the name of the title and the picture on the thumbnail. So let's take all this off. So I've made a matching gift tag as well. So I've printed my own papers using a stamp and heat embossing, so we'll be getting to that later on in the video. So let's open up the box, and inside we have a giant Ferrero Rocher. So let's open everything up. So we have 4 boxes here and 62 Ferrero Rochers are in here. So these acetate lids, they come off and it keeps all of the Ferrero Rochers in place. So this probably wouldn't be something suitable for sending in the post. It would have to be something you'd give in person. So here I have a Grand Ferrero Rocher. Now this is 125 gram Ferrero Rocher and inside it contains two of these smaller ones. And this shell here is actually the outside, just like the outside shell of a Ferrero Rocher, but without the gooey stuff in the middle. So it's hollow inside. It has 2 of these in there. So I've made my own papers here as well. So I think that just absolutely looks lovely. I kind of don't want to touch it. I just want to keep it as it is. But no doubt I'll probably eat some of these. So let's close everything up. So I really enjoyed making this one. So don't worry about writing any of the dimensions down. We'll be using the 1/16 of an inch with making our lid bigger and our inside boxes smaller. And all the things that I've used today, they're going to be listed down below, and there's also a blog post as well. So the link for that will be down below as well, and that'll be where the dimensions are so that you can get all your cutting done at the same time. Right, so let's get on with how to make it. Right, so we'll be starting off with our red card. So this is by Creative Expressions in the shade of Scarlet, and it's really good quality cardstock. It's smooth, it cuts beautifully, and it scores really well as well. So this is like my new favourite cardstock. So let's move on to some measurements. So we're going to be using the 1/16 of an inch rule to make sure that our lid fits snugly on top of our box. So whatever measurements we make for our lid, we're going to up it by 1/16 of an inch. And if you don't understand that, I will explain in a moment how to work that out on your paper trimmer. So this is our base. This is our base piece. This measures 7.25 by 7.25. Don't worry about writing anything down because there'll be a blog post that goes with this project and everything's going to be listed there for you, so you can do all your cutting out at the same time. So this measures, these are the side pieces, so I need 4 of those, and these measure 7.25 by 5 3/4, and we're going to score those as well. So if you don't understand the 1/16 of an inch or where to find it, if you look on any ruler that has the inches or your paper trimmer, you'll see here it doesn't show the 1/16 of an inch on here, but these marks here that go up, there's 8 of these, so there's the 8th is the 9th, if that makes sense. So there's 7 dashes and then it counts as the 8th as the last one. So the 1/16 of an inch falls between these 8s. So there's there'll be 15 little marks and the 1/16 will fall on the 9th. So when I'm going to be making these boxes, on the inside, to make them smaller, you take away a 1/16 of an inch, so you go 1/16 below. So if you want to make your lids and we're working out of the box, everything's 1/16 of an inch larger. So I hope that makes sense. So let's get on with our scoring. So I have my base piece here ready to go. Let's grab a scoreboard. A bit out of breath after explaining all that. Okay, so we're going to be scoring with this in portrait position, because these are going to join onto our base just like so. So we're going to score them both, all 4 of them, at 1/2 inch. so we're going to burnish our folds, then we're going to add some double-sided tape. Using a new cutting mat today, so it's an A3 size mat, so it fits just perfectly for filming. And don't worry about writing anything down for the materials that I've used today. Everything's going to be linked down below, including that lovely box of 90 Ferrero Rochers. Okay, so let's add some double-sided tape. Here it is. This is just over 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to add them on these outside folds here. Just use my Papermania block just to, this is a stamping block, but I like to use it to cut my double-sided tape. Okay, so what you need to do now is burnish down all of your double-sided tapes, and then grab some scissors, and then we're going to just tape it off each end so that it blends in with the box. There we go. So do that to all of the 4 pieces, and then grab a paper piercer or a pokey tool and take that off. And then grab your box base. I'm going to use my grid mat here, and then I'm going to line this up here. It might be best if we went the other way actually. So make sure everything's lined up. So I'm going up to the score line here, I'm not covering it, and press down. There we have one of our sides done already. So now what we need to do is just add the rest on, and then I'll be right back. Just adding the last one now. I'm going to try and do this one by eye. Right, so moving on to the lid, I have a top piece here. It's a funny shape because I have worked out the measurements so that one of the side pieces is part of the top piece. So this measures, don't worry, there's got to be 1/16 of an inch here, so to find the 1/16 of an inch there between the 8s, so we've added the 1/16 of an inch for the box lid. So this piece measures, give you the right measurements, 9 13/16 of an inch by 7 5/16 of an inch. So I've already scored this one. So this measures 3 inches by 3 1/16 of an inch, and I've scored 1/2 an inch all on 3 sides. And these 2 shorter ones, these measure 3 inches by 7 13/16 of an inch, but like I said, everything's written down so you can do all your cutting and measuring at the same time. So for this one we are going to score at 2 1/2. Set that aside. So I've already said 1/2 an inch on 3 sides on the longer one, and on this one we are going to score at 1/2 an inch on one side and 1/2 an inch on one side. So we'll do that again. Okay, so now we can score them all down, burnish them down. Then we're going to add more double-sided tape to all the folded sides, and then we'll trim off and taper the ends. So I'll be right back. Right, so I've tapered the ends, so I'm just going to quickly show you how I do this section here, so we're going to just cut across there, straight across the intersection, just like that. Right, so now we're ready to put our box lid together. Right, so we're going to stick on these sides first, just like that. So we're going to have to turn it round. We're going to keep these unstuck for the time being. We're just going to put all the side pieces on first. Okay, burnish everything down, so everything should have one of these flaps here to connect it together. So let's do that now. Okay, so moment of truth. Let's grab our box and see if it all fits together. So these side pieces are going to want to poke right in until we get the inside boxes put in. There we go, it fits. It's like a cake box. It really does remind me of a cake box. So that's our large box done. We can move that aside. So moving on to making our boxes that go in the middle, or around the sides. So we need to make 4 of these, and I'm going to explain and cut my paper with a trimmer that only has 1/8 of an inch. So on my website I will display both measurements on how to work it out. But here I'm just going to show you how to cut it. So we're going to be taking off a 1/16 of an inch from these 1/8 of an inch measurements. So we're going to go to 7 3/4. Yep, 7 3/4 here. And then we're going to move down just a notch before we hit the next 1/8 of an inch that's below. So just grab my pokey tool. And I'll bring this up so that you can see. We are going to be cutting, so here's 7 3/4. We are going to be cutting just here. That is in the middle, and that will give us the 1/16 of an inch off that we need. So like I said, it's all going to be on the blog page. So let's cut that out, 7 3/4. And then we're going to move over and we are going to do 8 1/4, just like so. And then we're going to cut that off very slightly because it's a very, very small amount here. I'm going to take that off, tiny amount there. And then we're going to cut our acetate as well. So I'm using heavyweight clear acetate from Hunky Dory. Like with all acetate, it will collect static and things will stick to it. So we are going to go with the proper measurements now without any 1/16 of an inch taken or added. So we are going to cut this at 7 3/4. move it round, and we are going to cut the rest at 8 1/4. So just a slither is going to come off that one as well, and it normally gets stuck inside the runner thing, so let's tip that out. Up you come, there we go. Absolutely tiny. Right, so on to scoring. Grab a scoreboard. And your piece of card, and we're going to score at 1 1/4 inches all the way round, and then we're going to do exactly the same on the piece of acetate as well. So burnish down your edges, bone folder. Grab your scissors, and we're to the left of the score line. We're going to cut a straight line because that's going to be the corner of our box. We want that quite straight. And then on the tab, we're going to completely cut off the score line away like that and pull downwards, just like that. So do that on all of the corners. There we go. I'm going to use some fast fuse for this. I would use double-sided tape, but just for speed for the video I'm going to use this. This is very strong anyway, so I do find that double-sided tape is a step stronger. Let's get these assembled. Okay, so now we need to do exactly the same to the piece of acetate that we cut out, and I have one already made ready. Here it is. So what I've done here, I've used the fast fuse again because on one of my first ones I made, I used double-sided tape and it's visible. So experiment with what adhesives you have and use the most invisible one. There is the option here of using or swapping over the measurements so that the acetate is at the bottom, so the acetate goes into the center, but it may get caught along here on the edges where the Ferrero Rocher wrappers are. So let's grab the Ferrero Rochers now. We can add those in. This is what I have left. I have not eaten one of them, not even one. Right, so I've used these 2 boxes and I've filled them up already. So I'm going to be using the next 2 boxes for this. I've been very tempted to eat them, but I haven't. I've been really good. I was off all last week with tummy bugs, so yeah, I wasn't pretty hungry for those anyway, so it was sort of easy. Right, so let's open the next box. Okay, they all fit in nice and snugly. This on, try and get all the things off because it was static. There we go, lovely snug fit here. Quite happy with that. Let's grab all the others. Looking good. So you can even make these just as normal boxes and just add some ribbon and a nice gift tag, and there you go. 16 Ferrero Rochers in a box. So let's pop those aside. Right, grab this box here. Time to add the boxes. So perhaps maybe I shouldn't have filled these all up straight away. So these are going to fit along here just like so. So now we need to add a lot of adhesive. So I'm going to add tape and glue underneath all of these. So I'm sure you don't want to watch me do that, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I've done all of the boxes now, so I'm just going to take all of this off. Bring my bin closer because these get everywhere and my cat plays with them, so and grab some glue as well. I'm going to be using some Collal. This is back in stock at Craft Stash, so I'm really happy about that actually. It's one of my favourite glues. So I'm going to add just some squidges here and there. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to be adding it to this top one here. So what I want to do is add it close to the line. I've got my acetate on there already, so it's going to be easier to work out how much space, because there needs to be space for the box to close with the box with the acetate on. So I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to add this as close to the edge as possible without going over it. And because I've added the glue, it does wiggle around a little bit, so it's given me a little bit of leeway here in case I get it in the wrong place. So I'm thinking that's a goer. There we go. Just going to press that down. Use a bone folder if you want. Just press everything down. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add them all on. I'll see if I can try and get this more or less in the viewer. So we're going to go around like this, adding it to the right hand side of each side. So we're going to go around just like that. So I'm going to add the glue and add it all on, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got everything stuck down now. Everything's in the right place. So here's the moment of truth. Does it all fold up? Right, so we're going to pop this in the centre. We'll probably put a glue dot or something on there just to keep it in place. Let's fold up the sides. That's fitting together already, so I might have to add some extra bits around the edges here just to make it more pretty. Grab the lid. Wow, well, that's quite heavy. Okay, there we go. It's a really big box. Let's just do a shake test, a little shake. I wouldn't send this in the post, by the way. Let's do a little shake test. Yep, everything's pretty much stayed where it should be. Right, so now we're ready for decoration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about what I'm going to do next. I do have a bit of card here that I've cut to size, just a smidge under 7.25, so I've taken the 1/16 of an inch off just so it fits on the inside, but I'm not too sure if I should just do some like layer mats, maybe white. I'm thinking of adding a white ribbon around the outside of the box, so I may do something. So I'm going to go off camera now and I'm going to have a little play and a little think on how we're going to finish the box off, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've pretty much finished decorating now, so let's take the lid off. So I've made some of my own patterned paper there using a heart stamp, and I'll show you that in a second. So I just want to show you what I've done first. So I've added some papers to the top sections. So let's unfold all this down, and I've made a larger background paper here with the same stamp, and I've used some white heat embossing powder. So I've used some Nouveau embossing powder in Glacier White, and I've matted this piece of paper onto some white cardstock as well. So let's pop this all back up together again. So the stamp I've used is from a stamp set from the Christina collection, Card Making Magic. This is exclusive to Craft Stash, and I've used this stamp here, and it also comes with an optional die cutting set as well. So there is a heart die in here that will cut this out as well, so so really versatile. So let's get the lid on. So don't worry about all the dimensions. All these dimensions are going to be on the website. So let's pop the lid back on again. So I have some ribbon here, and I've also made a gift tag just to go on there, and I'll show you the dies. I've used a heart die here from Creative Dies. So I did my stamping. And I also used the sentiment from the same stamp set, which is Today, Tomorrow and Always. I've just used some circle punches and I found some gold twine. So let's get our box all ribboned up. So I'm going to just tie a simple knot at the top. I'm not going to go with a bow this time. Just one simple knot. Oh, and before I add that, I'm going to add my tag. There we go, so we'll have our tag hanging down there, and we'll just have these loose here. You can trim these off as well, so I like them quite long, so I'll probably even them out with a pair of scissors. Right, so thank you for joining me today. I hope you really enjoyed this project. I really hope that you'll be brave enough to actually try something like this. If you just follow the steps and go slowly if you're worried. And if you have any questions, ask me down below and I'll do my best to answer them for you. So thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.